Kawaki's powerlessness against Boruto and the Shinju is putting him back in the same position he was in at the time of the Code Assault, when he didn't have the power of his karma and was basically as useful as Konohamaru trying to fight against Jigen. That situation made Kawaki desperate for power, and that gave Amado an opening to restore Kawaki's lost karma in the form of only a weapon that he can use to defend himself, or so he thought. But it was actually a part of Amado's plan to make Kawaki a vessel for his daughter Akebi, that died to an illness around the same time that Boruto was born. So Amado took Kawaki's moment of weakness as an opportunity to implant a karma on him that has Akebi's data, with the hope that he can use it to resurrect his daughter. Fast forward to chapter 11 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, and Kawaki is back in the same situation that he was in. Kawaki is now powerless against his enemies even though he has full access to Ishiki's abilities. There's nothing he can do against the Shinju that have humiliated him more than once, and then he also had to face even more humiliation when Boruto took him down with a single punch, and also rescued Himawari so fast that Kawaki didn't even have the chance to blink or do anything, even though he took off first to go and save Himawari from the Shinju. Boruto flew past Delta and Kawaki so fast that by the time Kawaki was able to sense him, he was already way ahead of them. This is the same Boruto that was out of commission because he had to get some distance between himself and Kawaki to be able to suppress his karma and avoid losing control. Before Boruto flew past Delta and Kawaki, Delta was asking Kawaki what he was going to do when he got to Himawari and Jira's location. She pointed out how Kawaki couldn't do anything when he fought them in their previous encounters. She wanted to know how Kawaki was going to save Himawari or if he had a plan to help him do that. Boruto, Delta and the Shinju were the biggest reminders that Kawaki is back in the same situation of being powerless to do anything about the situation. He is going to need more power in order to be able to compete, and the only person that he can get that power from is Amado. Now the question is, why would Kawaki even go to Amado to ask him for a power boost when we know that Kawaki hates Amado? There's a simple answer to that. Kawaki simply isn't the type of person to get stronger through stuff like training or improving his skills. From an early age, Kawaki was taught how to use borrowed powers to protect and defend himself, powers that were never his own. This is a lesson that he learned through abuse and also through his experiences. He never had to train and develop his own power, he only had to learn how to use someone else's power that was already given to him. The traditional way of training that Shinobi tend to use to get stronger is something that Kawaki believes is old-fashioned and not an efficient way to get more powerful in a quick amount of time. Something that Kawaki doesn't have because the Shinju threat is already present. Kawaki is going to need a power boost and fast. So the most logical and quickest way to do that is by going to Amado. When Amado restored Kawaki's karma in the Code Assault, Amado laid the seeds for such a time when Kawaki is going to be the one that goes to him asking for power, instead of Amado offering it to him. This is where Amado initiates Operation Resurrect Akebi. Amado will take this opportunity to put something in Kawaki's karma that is going to act as insurance to make sure that Kawaki fulfills his end of the deal and puts a karma on a Delta clone to make sure that Akebi's resurrection is possible. That is if he didn't already do that the first time he restored Kawaki's karma. Amado is always one step ahead and he plans every move carefully to ensure that things either go his way or they don't backfire on him too much. We saw this with the various fail-safe words that he put on almost all the Kara-Innas that have been scientifically modified by himself. He might have a shutdown code or something that will put Kawaki in his mercy and control to make him do what he wants. This is necessary for Amado because Kawaki isn't the most cooperative person on the planet and there's very little possibility that he is going to keep up his end of the bargain. There is no way that Amado is not going to be prepared for a situation where Kawaki decides to betray him. Based on what we saw in chapter 10 of 2 Blue Vortex, Amado was monitoring Kawaki through Delta and he saw how powerless he was against the Shinju. So much so that he was even asking himself if something was wrong with Kawaki. So he might already be working on something that will ensure that Kawaki gets more powerful and gets to a level where he can put up a decent fight against the Shinju or at least be able to be a match for Boruto. Kawaki getting this power boost from Amado might be a good thing for him, but it can also be a bad thing for everyone else. If that power boost puts him on the same level as Boruto or the Shinju, it is only going to reinforce Kawaki's idea that the Shinobi way of getting more power is inefficient. This is going to push him down the path of looking at Shinobi and the Shinobi way as weak and unnecessary. Kawaki is going to take on the same ideals as Obito, but for reasons that are more dark and twisted. Obito tried to change the Shinobi world or the Shinobi system by destroying the current system and replacing it with a new one in the Infinite Tsukiyomi, where there would be no wars or conflict and everyone can live in eternal peace in the Infinite Tsukiyomi. Fundamentally, Obito had good intentions for his goal. but the ends didn't justify the means. Kawaki, on the other hand, is going to be motivated by the desire to prove that the age of shinobi must come to an end because they no longer have the power to protect the shinobi tradition or the shinobi ways, which plays into one of the Boruto story's core themes of trying to preserve the traditional shinobi way in a world that is forever changing due to new forms of power changing the system. Those new forms of power being individuals like the Otsutsuki, the Shinju, the cyborg siblings, and Kawaki. But wanting to change the shinobi system is not going to be Kawaki's only motivation. Shikamaru has been suspicious of Kawaki's identity and he might end up exposing him to the rest of Konoha for stealing the identity of Boruto and living as the son of Naruto Uzumaki. Not just for that, but also for being the one that was actually responsible for the disappearance of the 7th Hokage and his wife. And obviously they are not going to know how Kawaki did it because the victims of the omnipotence jutsu are always going to forget anything related to the jutsu or how the jutsu functions, so it won't matter much at the time. The only thing that is going to matter is that Boruto is innocent and Kawaki is the one that is guilty. The village of Konoha is going to turn on Kawaki and he'll be an outsider again, with no more ties to a shinobi village. This is going to further fuel Kawaki's hatred for shinobi and push him to destroy the village with the intention of taking out the shinobi village that no longer wants him. And this is also going to be the start of the destruction of the age of shinobi. The rest of the ninja villages are going to fall when they retaliate against Kawaki for destroying Konoha. So this is how Kawaki might get his time skip power boost and how Amado might finally be able to resurrect his daughter, as well as how we are going to end up at the time skip scene where Kawaki said the age of shinobi is over, with a destroyed Konoha village in the background. So let me know your thoughts on how you think Kawaki is going to catch up to Boruto in power. Make sure to also subscribe to the channel and check out my other Boruto content like this video that explains why Amado chose to put Akebi's data in Kawaki's karma instead of using other ways to resurrect his daughter.